Tell me your favorite feature on the app.
KYC.
Then again, I went back to my wife and said, "Hey, that Bitcoin thing that you had spoken about, right?"
I don't remember the last time we sent a push notification on BitSave, right? Like,
It is code coupled with human compassion.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of debate about, banning of crypto. Do you think it is possible in the future?
Keep the platform at risk or keep the AUM increasing.
you can sell BitSave better than me. I need you in the team, right? So,
Do you get questions like, what if you run away with our money?
All the time.
to sum it up in life, you have two choices. Either make someone's life easier or make someone's life harder. I don't think it's a difficult choice to make. So, yeah. That's it.
And the easiest option is to create a token. Tell that invest in Asif token. This will give you 100% returns.
I remember like 10 years back, it was a few day process to invest in crypto, right? And we have made it 10 seconds.
He says, "Listen, India is a 5,000-year-old civilization. We will take our sweet time because we feel that we have a lot of time."
Invest in index and forget about it.
Hello everyone, my name is Neha Singh. I am the presenter and content strategist for Binge Wealth and of course, host for today. So we have something really special lined up today. We have with us the core team members of BitSave, people who have made BitSave what it is today. So join us in this conversation because we'll take you behind the scenes of how it all started. We'll cover all the questions, all the doubts you have, and I'm sure by the end of this podcast, you'll have a better clarity. So before we dive into the questions, I'd like to give short introductions about our guest today. So we have Zakhil, the CEO of BitSave. We have Asif, the Chief Operating Officer. We have Shiv, the Chief Business Officer. We have Sajal, the Chief Technology Officer. And we have Vishnu, the Chief Compliance Officer. I'd like to ask each one of you to define something about your role, like what is your role about and daily tasks, what do you take care of?
Pretty much everything, I would say. Yeah, I mean, as a CEO, I primarily take care of product and of course the funding related stuff, and I also manage the core asset management piece that we are doing, right? So I would say from a focus point of view, these are the areas that I spend most of my time these days. Yeah.
Shiv?
My job is very simple. My job is to get in the AUM. Very simple task. So yes, in essence, it's to speak to prospects. These can be clients, these can be high quality retail, HNIs, UHNIs, wealth managers, professional wealth distributors, and to see how they can be a part of our journey, right? And help expand our North Star metric, which is AUM. As simple as that.
Asif?
I mainly deal with the partners, like the payment partners, the crypto payment partners, banks. And since my background is from financial planning, I also help clients understand what the product is, what the asset is. So a lot of people come with the notion that this is a new asset class, right? And they don't know what a cryptocurrency is or a crypto asset is. So I spend a lot of my time in teaching them about the product, educating them how to invest. As India being a country where people are still confused about what an SIP or a mutual fund is, it takes a lot of time to make them understand what a digital currency is and then how to invest in it. So that's how most of my day goes.
So I take care of engineering and work alongside Zakhil in the product part, right? When we talk about engineering, it encompasses the apps that our customer uses, right? I take care of those things. Also, everything in the backend systems that customer uses that they do not see, all the code that goes along, that we take care of it. Also, the security of the infrastructure that we have, we take care of it. And in short, the code that goes along with everything that we have built is something that I take care on a daily basis.
As I handle compliance, my prime responsibility is to ensure that the platform actually follows all the internal policies, then adherence to external laws, and even regulatory requirements, so that the platform we won't be facing any financial risk or reputational risk, and overall will be safe for the users to invest. Yes.
So now that we have all the introductions done, I'd like to ask, how's life?
Life is good, right? Like I think Shiv and I this is something that we keep chatting, all of us. I mean, most days whenever we get some time to chat, with the blessing of Bitcoin, like the market doing what it is doing, and I think most importantly, we feel good to be here, this cycle, this part of the cycle, with the right product and the right team to build it, right? And it was a very conscious decision for us to build during a phase which was not really good for crypto. It was a phase when a bunch of companies were shutting down, leaving, and we thought, that is when maybe we should start building so that we can make use of that time to make sure we lay the foundation very strong. And right now we feel we have done that, and it's important that we now build on top of that. So can't really complain if you ask about how life is. And I think internally also there is that sense of calmness and knowing that there's a strong purpose for which with which we are building the product, right? So yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but slightly different to Zakhil's. Life's good, and while I should not complain, but I do. So see, at least when you are speaking with prospects, right, or leads, there will always be a few which will get away, right? So you can't be, let's say, 100% satisfied ever, and that's just the role that it is. But yes, I think life's good. Markets have been kind, as Zakhil has said. I think the biggest shift that we have seen in this phase of the cycle, right, is that Bitcoin is not coming across as an unknown quantity to any conversation. Thanks to now global adoption or institutional adoption coming in, it's a word that people now recognize. They may not recognize what the asset is, but like we were internally joking about the fact that we have moved away from the fact if Bitcoin is a scam, and now people are debating if BitSave is a scam, which is a great place for us because that is a conversation that we can manage very, very well, right? And if you move past the asset itself and now coming to platforms, I think that is showing that sense of maturity is now sort of starting to come in, and more than maturity, the acceptance is coming in. So that's great. So yeah.
I basically love what I do. So life's been easier for me. The past 2 years, since the asset also grew, since we've been there in the industry for 10 years, it helps us knowing that this is what is going to happen, like crypto following a 4-year cycle, Bitcoin especially. And since we started a year later, ETFs were launched in US. And that was the start of early phase of institutional adoption. So it was very easy to tell the people. Back then, you have to bring a company which is helping with which is adopting crypto payments. Now you can actually bring in the names like BlackRock, Fidelity, even JP Morgan for that matter, right? So this actually helps in the conversations, and as days grow, my conviction grows, along with that my users' conviction grows. Now I'm at a point where I have to discourage the users to not invest more, because some people might not have seen a bear market, right? So it's not the investment that is the problem, it's the investor that is the problem. So I take a lot of time in educating people these things. But things have been simpler because the asset has been performing the way it is and being adopted. So people are still ready, even when there was a market crash in the last 2 to 3 months in the beginning of this year. People were ready to accept the asset as it is. So that's where we are right now. So in that terms, life's been simpler. And as Bitcoin being adopted as a digital gold kind of an asset. It also gives us a lot of confidence, right? Being someone who has invested a lot of his funds in Bitcoin, I know that my investments are on a safe regard. The money problem for me is resolved in that regard. So yeah, life is simple. There is a lot of clarity, and yeah, taking as the day goes by.
So I have been blessed with a team who I love working with. Right? They understand. So we all, each of us, we understand each other's strength as well as weakness. Everyone has weakness, so we do understand that. So we tend to stand wherever they feel weak, and and they help us be strong in that sense, right? So in that way, I feel blessed to be around the team who understands the vision in a much better way, right? And there have been ups and downs. Obviously, while you're building a startup from absolute scratch, there will be challenges. But then your sense of confidence that you have while you're building a product. So, for example, I was the first customer, a genuine customer. So when Zakhil reached out to me regarding the idea, and I wanted to use that product. There was no such product to begin with in the market. And when he came up with the idea, I was like, yes, I want that thing. Right. And so when I onboarded, I wanted to build a product that I wanted to use. Right. And that is the conviction that I had that this will grow into a much bigger thing. Right. And we are on that journey. So when you have that conviction, the lows when you are building the product and the company, right? It's fine. When you have that concrete idea solidified in your mind, it helps you go along on those lows days, right? So yeah, so life is fine. Can be much better, but can't complain.
Yeah, like Sajal mentioned, I'm actually so blessed to have this team. But if I specifically mention the complaints, it has not been so easy for me because like Shiv, Sajal, Asif, all these guys will be working hard to to increase the AUM, and I'll be the one who will be acting against it, and I'll be saying, okay, you need to find the source of the particular money. You just need to make sure that only clean money enters the platform.
As I mentioned earlier, right, that every Batman needs a Joker to be the Batman, right? So he can be the Joker, but it helps make BitSave the Batman of the future.
True.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the origin story, how it all started. Like, I'm very curious to know. So who wants to start? Zakhil?
Yeah. Maybe I think before BitSave, it's important to talk about how we know each other, because I think that have eventually translated to building it, right? Like Vishnu's dad and my dad used to be in the army together, like 20-25 years back, and then we both ended up in the same school way back, I think 20 years back. And then that's how we got to know each other. After my high school, I changed school, and that's when I met Asif. I was the head boy, he was the school captain. I don't know why we had two roles, but but that's how bonding with Asif started. And when eventually I read about Bitcoin for the first time in 2014, these were the guys I reached out and said, maybe look at this. Right, and I remember the first purchase was made by Vishnu's scholarship, because we were all kids, like we didn't have a job or whatever, but first purchase was using Vishnu's 10,000 rupee scholarship that that he had received. So the conviction in the asset kept growing, and we been like Asif, Vishnu and me been together, investing, learning, evolving since then. In 2017, we started working with exchanges to provide liquidity, as in when some of the exchanges came up in India, we wanted to, some of them didn't have enough, people to fill the order books, as in when someone want to buy, someone else should be on the sell side and vice versa, right? So we started as liquidity providers. And at that point in time, there was this exchange called Coinex, which went on to become the largest crypto exchange in India back then. And we were working very closely with them. And eventually, Asif and I, joined the team. We were so close that we were like, as and well, we'll join the team and work together. And it was a very important learning experience for us. Like working with such brilliant minds, both tech, product, right? And I think one of the reasons why when we started BitSave also, we were able to move a lot faster than usual is because we had the learnings from that phase. 1.5 years into Coinex is when Sajal joined Coinex as an engineer. So that's how we got introduced to Sajal. And finally, in 2022, without getting too much into it, like in 2018, RBI had said ki, crypto exchanges will not have support from banks, which meant that it's very hard. It became very hard for Coinex to kind of sail through that phase. So we had to wind down Coinex back in 2019. But like three of us kept either trading, doing a bit of brokerage. So in 2022, or let's say especially post-COVID, it reached a point where the number of tokens, number of the number of assets that were listed on exchanges, it just exploded. So I remember when we started Coinex, we started with five assets. So that was the only thing, right? But post-COVID, it became like 200, 300, and I realized that it will only get bigger. I mean, the numbers are only going to keep going up. And what that means is someone who is not from the crypto background, or someone who don't have much idea of crypto, right? Like this used to be people that we kind of interact on a daily basis, right? And maybe the doctors, lawyers, and working professionals who don't really have the time to figure these things out. So that's when we realized that there's a genuine problem to solve, right? And either I think there were two things that were happening without BitSave. One, they end up not allocating to crypto because they feel it's too complicated, it's too overwhelming, or they end up buying the wrong things. Like maybe there's something on the social media, some influencer is saying something, and they end up losing money, which means that they go and tell others that crypto is a scam, right? So it was hurting the asset class also, and I think in 2022 it reached a point where it was very difficult for people to allocate. And we saw that firsthand. And also, that was a phase when a couple of global platforms also went burst for whatever reasons. So we saw that pain in the community. And that is when we decided we have to do something about it.
When was this?
This was 2022.
22.
Yeah. And then that is when we got back and we were like, let's solve this problem because we don't see anybody else solving it the right way. So I reached out to Sajal and said, like this is something that we want to build and we need your help to build it. So that's how we got started. And to solve, so the primary reason was to solve for asset selection, I would say, because selecting assets was very difficult. So we first went to Bloomberg and said, you have an index just like a Nifty 50 types for crypto. Why don't you allow us to build a product based out of it so that our clients can invest in it? We were very young, raw at that point in time, but they were kind enough to tell us go and build it, right? And I think till now we remain to be the only company in Asia, I think, which allows investors to invest into Bloomberg's crypto index.
Is it?
Yeah. So that's how it got started, and then we realized that a lot of people are not comfortable with the high volatility of crypto. So we added some gold to the mix and said, this will not have that much of risk, and people are comfortable allocating to gold, right? So, and then over time, we also realized that the product is so simple and straightforward, and if tomorrow someone just want to buy Bitcoin and nothing else, we thought the same structure would make a lot more sense to them. So we added a way to just allocate to Bitcoin without anything else. So so the simplicity, safety, and all that is very, it's crucial to what we build. So this setup will not work if it's within a larger environment. It has to be, on its own. And it's a great. I get so happy when I see some of people who actively trade on exchanges, other platforms, but still come and do a monthly SIP on BitSave. Right. So that positioning or the problem that we are trying to solve in terms of long-term wealth, it's very significant. And I feel when people come to us and tell us right now, how important BitSave has become as part of their, future or their investment journey that is forward, we feel so grateful and happy, right? Because what started as a genuine attempt to solve a genuine problem, to be where we are today, and to serve more than 1,000 clients, can't really complain. So yeah, this has been the long journey. So even though BitSave is only 2.5 years old right now, our journey started way back in 2014 when we discovered, that's when the learning and all the other stuff, right? And we've been actively involved in this space for the last 7-8 years, right? So yeah, I would say it's not really 2.5 years from that point of view, right? It's so many years of experience, learnings that have led us to this point. We met Shiv as part of our journey, and I think it's better he tells the story of how he met us.
Yeah, I think that's
right?
the more interesting one. So frankly, I'm the last one to sort of come on the Bitcoin train per se, right? So all of these guys obviously were lucky enough or knowledgeable enough to actually look into it in 2014, 2015. My problem is a little different. I ignored Bitcoin every 2 years in 2013 when my cousin showed it to me.
Okay.
2015 when my friend's girlfriend showed it to me. I in fact asked her to sell it at 20,000, which she did. Right. 2017 and 2019 again, right? In 2021, Neha, what happened is, by the time I was married as well, and my wife, who's an economist, comes and tells me that, Shiv, why don't you look at this Bitcoin thing, right? So, and I say, I don't understand it. I have no knowledge of this. And I was like, yeah, if you invest, if you want, you should invest in this. She's like, no, I don't know anything, right? But as all good husbands should do, I listen to my wife, right? And I took a small course on Udemy for $500, which best 500 I ever invested, and my mind just blew off, right? I was like, oh my God, this will change the world, right? Bitcoin, blockchain, all of it. But I realized it was ginormously tough to invest in Bitcoin in India, especially if you wanted to invest through the legal manners, right? If you wanted to be a law-abiding citizen, and while as Zakhil said, right, RBI had come up with a lot of a very strong hand when it came to cryptos, right? But you had still enough clarity if you wanted to invest. The problem was you didn't have a straightforward platform to invest in. And God bless LinkedIn's algo, because it caught my thoughts, and in comes Zakhil Suresh's post in front of me on LinkedIn saying that, hey, we are building this. Now, given that I come from wealth management, most of my corporate career has been in wealth management, right? I was like, oh my God, somebody has built a crypto index product, right? This is fantastic. Plus it had Bloomberg's name on it. So like a very creepy 35-year-old man, I slid into his DMs on LinkedIn and said, you know what? I would love to know a little bit more. He was kind enough to send me the deck. The deck looked superb, right? And again, like a very corporate-ish wealth management guy, you judge decks. And I was like, oh, this is a nice deck, right? Clearly there's some sense of class. So yeah, and then downloaded the app, invested, loved it, absolutely loved it. My crowning point in the journey was that somewhere my KYC got stuck, right? And then you're like, oh my God, right? You now you have to contact support, right? And crypto support historically has not been great, right? Customer support generally is not great. Forget crypto for a second, right? So I click on contact support, and I kid you not, Neha, within 2 seconds, I have a human being on WhatsApp who has pinged me saying, hey bro, don't worry, we'll solve this for you in 10 minutes. Right?
Is this true?
This is exactly what happened.
Wow.
Right. Right. And I was like, wow. I was like, somebody's really caught the pulse, right? So it was not the quote unquote the investment part of it, but the journey of hand holding that really caught my attention. And
till now we have this much prompt responses, or
yeah, so pretty much, right? I mean, obviously Asif can tell more, but I think but what is more important, Neha, is the fact that the human RM or the human assistance is not provided to you if you do your KYC, if you invest a certain amount. Every person who downloads the app, right? Anyone who simply joins BitSave, right, as a user stroke investor is given that sort of leeway stroke luxury, right? That they have a human being to pick up the phone and call, right? And it's not a BitSafe chatbot account that talks to you. It's not an AI account. It's not, hello friend, how may I help you, right? It's literally a human being talking to you like a human being, right? So in the case of AI frenzy, we are the opposite. We are as less AI as possible, right?
as traditional as possible.
As traditional as possible, right? Or as boring as possible, because in wealth management, boring is beautiful, right? So that's how I got onboarded onto BitSave as a user, and like bit of a creep, I picked up the app and went to all my vendors and colleagues and friends and even competitors in the wealth management space. I said, listen, I think you need to take a look. There is some team in India who has a crypto index product, and oh my God, they have UPI. And this is 2022, 2023.
Okay.
Right, where these things are not easy in India at all, right, to get payment gateways and UPI in India. And I think that caught a lot of people's attention. And I thought, you know what, hey, I'm not doing too much in life right now, right? Maybe, just maybe, I can help these guys out, right? And I think we worked pro bono for a while. Then I worked as a consultant for a while, and I think we liked each other. And I'm like, this is what, let's do this.
I mean, internally it was like, we have this client from Delhi who was just left, right, center, referring high value clients for us. And I'm like, you are bringing us, these kind of clients. So stop whatever you're doing and then join us, right? Like, and if you can sell BitSave better than me, I need you in the team, right? So that's when I messaged him and said, let's figure out how to make it more official, and yeah, so
when was this, by the way? When
This is 2023.
Yeah, this was 2023, and we had our phase of dating and
Yeah.
eventually deciding to get married. But yeah, I think it was last year he joined us full time. So yeah.
So Shiv, what were you doing at that time when you got the offer?
So actually, I had just left what I was doing back then, which was also, by the way, in cryptos. It was also crypto fund management. It was on the algorithmic space, right? So I had been in cryptos for a while. I had a basic understanding of it. And at that point of time, I had moved past that role, and I was just simply looking what I wanted to do. Right. And luckily enough, I come from a double income household, so I had that leeway to sit down, chill for a while, see what has to be done. And that's when then again I went back to my wife and said, hey, that Bitcoin thing that you had spoken about, right? I think it could become a career out of it.
Oh.
Right. And she's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. If you feel that this is the thing, then go ahead. And that's when I joined in. Yeah.
Wow.
So to add to what Shiv mentioned, right? Shiv mentioned that within like 10 minutes, we were able to solve the problem that he was facing. It was because of a very core concept that we are trying to build, and that is customers' empathy. And customers' empathy and compassion towards what customer is facing is the core of everything that we build in BitSave. So since I have like a decade of experience in engineering and somewhat in product as well, I figured out that you as an engineering team or a product team should know the pain of the customer before the customer says so. Like, it should not be like that. Someone from operations team should reach out to you and tell you, okay, this is the problem that the customer is facing, and now you have to solve this. If that is the case, it is already too late. The customer is already pissed off, right? You should know that the customer has faced a problem before the customer says so. So that was the main core concept that we have built our operation systems on, and Asif can elaborate on it. later. But that is how we were able to solve his problem much sooner than the basic or the standard TAT that the customer service across the industry has provided you with. So so that was the idea.
Yeah, I mean, like Sajal said, right? Like it's a product that he needs, and that's a core philosophy with which we build. Like, how would you expect a product to behave? If you're using it, right? Like, do you want to wait for 24 hours? And I think we have reached a point where we can't even speak to humans. I was reaching out to a customer support of a bank last week, and then it was all AI speaking to me, right?
Yeah.
So like everything on the app, also the kind of language that we use, the kind of disclosures, transparency with which we have built it, it's all keeping in mind that how would we want an app or a platform that we use, right? Like, I think most of us hates push notifications. And I don't remember the last time we sent a push notification on BitSave, right? Like, so yeah, that's a core philosophy with which we build it.
Who do we have in the backend who takes all these calls?
I think it's largely all of us, like sitting together and just doing what is common sense, right? Like, that's why it's very simple that way. The filter is always, do you want this to be done to you, right? And if the answer is no, probably we should not do it to our customers, right? And so not really sending these, so typically you might, like in the industry, you might get at least like 5 notifications every day saying Bitcoin is up, buy, Bitcoin is down, and then Bitcoin goes up and down, every now and then, right? So it's a conscious decision to create that detached journey, I would say. And that's what our clients love. Like they just want to filter out the noise and just stay invested without distraction, and that's what we try to provide also. So it's usually we sit down, whatever we want to build, we discuss internally, and then ultimately it's all optimized for the long-term well-being of our clients. More than everything else. Yeah.
Like Neha, one thing I always tell people, so let's say if I'm speaking to a lead on the phone or a prospect on the phone, right? And so one thing we always maintain, right? There are no hot tokens on BitSave. There are no 24-hour price changes that are on BitSave. In fact, you don't see Bitcoin's price anywhere on BitSave. Right? Of course, you can see your NAVs. Of course, you can see performance of the 3 options that we give you to invest in. Right? But the idea is not to make it slazzy anywhere, right? Capital markets have given you a blueprint over the last, let's say, 100 years of how to build for long-term wealth, right? And we feel that the same thing has to happen in crypto, for that matter, and Bitcoin, and that's been the philosophy that we've tried to embed, right? No hot tokens. Right?
To sum it up, the question that you asked, right? It is code coupled with human compassion. So Asif will be there to see if there is an issue. Vishnu will be there to see if there is an issue. Zakhil is always there to see if none of us are seeing. I'll see. Then we have our engineering team taking care of any issues that are coming up. So it's a collective exercise, right? So, and then whatever we feel can be automated. Of figuring out issues in infrastructure, or figuring out issues in security at times, or figuring out issues with the product itself, right? So sometimes what happens is that everything is right technically, but the UI is not that great. So you chase numbers to figure out what's working, what's not working, and that everything encompasses into one thing of providing the best UX to the customer. So that helps. But yeah, as I mentioned, the core is the empathy towards the customer. You put yourself in the shoes of the customer, and then you decide, what do I want? And then you provide.
So we know how Asif and Vishnu joined in, and also for Shiv, all credit goes to LinkedIn. Sajal, I want to know from you, like, how it all started for you.
So as I mentioned, right, when he came up with this idea, so I was like, yes, I want that product for myself. But I don't want all that hassle. Like there's hassle for buying USDT. There's hassle for buying on platforms which I may or may not trust. right? All of that process is very, very it brings anxiety to me, right? So in that kind of case, I was like, if I can buy using UPI, and UPI is something everyone in the country knows, right? And you do not need to educate the user to do so. If you make the product so simple that you can buy all of these products using UPI, and that too, I don't need to care about which coins, which tokens to buy, right? If there is an index will take care of it, na? So I read all these literatures on finance and all, right? Morgan Housel and all. So they tend to say, okay, invest in index and forget about it, right? You keep investing and keep forgetting about it, and it will grow in its own time, right? So that was my philosophy on investing. So when he came up with this idea that Bloomberg has an index, like now my thing is sorted. I don't need to worry about how to invest because there is UPI. I don't need to worry about which tokens or coins to invest in, right? And because he was building that platform, I had trust in him, right? Because the trust was developed back in a couple of years back. So that's how I was like, yes, I want to build this because I want to be the customer of this. So that is how we started building it. So that's the whole backstory.
I mean, I think the best part is, like I keep saying, like when a relationship evolves, there's a beautiful point where other people start understanding your silence. They get even your silence, and I think we're fortunate to have a team that understands each other even when we don't have words, right? So that's a very beautiful place to be in, right? And there's this mutual respect that people have for each other, and I think like if you look at see, we started at a very difficult time, right? Like I would even say that was the worst time from a sentiment point of view. Some of the largest platforms had gone under, a lot of people had lost money, right? But to stick together during that phase, knowing that eventually this will play out well, you need that respect and trust for each other, right? And when it's very difficult when things are not going well, right? That's when you really see what people need, or like what their intentions are. And if you look at what we've managed, right, like all of us have stuck together during that phase, knowing that long-term vision, right? We all know that this is a very long journey. We're not optimizing for the next quarter, next 6 months, next 1 year. We're building for the decades to come. So that relationship that we have, that mutual trust that we have, it shows in what we build as well.
Is there a most toughest time you can recall, maybe?
Toughest time.
Take your pick.
The day you couldn't.
I guess every day.
Yeah, every day is actually difficult.
Handling politically exposed.
Yes, like one case can be handling politically exposed person, so they will be highly influential, so they will be onboarded, but we won't be able to onboard them or allow them to invest before we completed the enhanced due diligence on them. I mean, the KYC flow for the politically exposed person will be completely different from the normal users. So it will be like, okay, the person is highly influential, but there's a possibility that the person can be risky. So what do you want to do? Keep the platform at risk, or keep the AUM increasing? So it will be like a constant challenge. Then there will be HNIs. They will be like, and yes, I hope Asif will be the one who will be constantly receiving the call, and Shiv, like, okay, I really wanted to invest in BitSave. I love your platform. The thing is that please help me onboard. The KYC part and all, please help me. There can be a bit of compromising and all, but I'm ready to invest large chunks of money. And Asif will be straight away saying that no, our team, they won't be allowing it. The complaint stream is strict, so anyway we won't be able to do it. And I guess Shiv also will be having a lot of experience in this thing, so it will be like a lot of friction. Daily we'll be having a lot of friction between the business team, tech team, operations team. But it's actually fine. I mean,
ultimately, if you think about it, it's all betterment and the well-being of the platform, and what that essentially means is well-being of the clients, right? At the end of the day, because if you put the platform at risk, eventually if something goes wrong, it's the clients that also, they're invested money, or, you don't want to see somewhere that BitSave got fined for not following a certain rule, right? So it's a comfort, it's part of the comfort that we are trying to all our stakeholders. And I think industry is also kind of in a very, evolving state when it comes to especially the compliance, right? Like, for example, 3 years back, we didn't really have any guidelines as such for crypto companies, but over the last 3 years, we have had significant amount of guidelines from the government coming up, which means you have to keep adapting, and it will be an evolving process as such. So for us, the priority is keeping in mind what the government expects us to do and make sure that, we don't really compromise there, but within those restrictions, how do we give our clients the best experience and the smooth experience, right? So that's been the focus, making sure that we're building it for the long run in the right way, right? So,
But this is sort of turning into a superpower, right? So let's say if somebody comes in and says, you know what, Shiv, yeah, your KYC issue, can you speak it a little mild or something, right? And what it's turned out to be, right? Because you get habituated to saying no, 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 no. What it's turned out to be is that there is a sense, especially in the HNI circles, right, that okay, now at least BitSave does not do any hanky-panky. That is turning into a moral strength, and eventually they're coming back with a larger deployment, saying that okay, we are now confident that your morals and your ethics are not up for sale. Right? I think that is turning into a bit of a superpower now. Right? So it's working out quite well. Maybe not on day 1, but definitely on day 10. If not day 10, then day 20. But it's working out quite well.
Yeah, the long-term vision.
The long-term vision.
Yes.
So I mentioned this thing. I guess I haven't mentioned it to anyone else, but I feel if you are a Marvel fan, right? If you know Heimdall is the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
So this guy is the Heimdall.
He's a gatekeeper.
So, and I do remember on day 1, Zakhil telling me, okay, we'll bring in the AUM, we'll try to increase the customers, number of customers and everything. And your only purpose or aim is to keep the platform under safe. So you can do, you can take decisions keeping that aim in mind only. So just have a single aim that keep the platform safe. That's it. So I'm doing the same thing.
So in olden times, a short story. In olden times, what used to happen was that every code used to have a cynic.
Okay.
CYNIC, cynic, whose only job was to go against the decision made by the code. And in this case, the kings and the and the likewise, right? The only job is to make sure that the person comes up with a perspective completely opposite to what the code has decided. And the reason being, there can be different perspectives to the truth. You have to take a decision depending upon the fact that you have taken care of all the perspectives that there are, right? So in that way, maybe you will not be able to grow in short term, but definitely in the long term, you'll be able to survive those things, right? If there is one person who will be taking all the decisions, there is a perfect philosophy that says we don't know what we don't know, right? So not everyone, and there is no single person who knows all the perspective, and that is how the team collectively decides, right? So I consider him to be the cynic of our code, and his job is to make sure that we remain there in the longest time possible. So yeah.
So Asif, you could have built something around maybe a fixed deposit or some traditional investment app. Why did you decide to build it around Bitcoin or cryptocurrency?
First of all, there should be a problem statement on what we do, right? We never felt there was an issue with fixed deposits or stocks or mutual funds, that for that matter, in India. While our decades journey in crypto helped us understand that there was an issue with investing in crypto, right? From 2015 maybe, my friends been asking me which platform to go and invest in. And I always tell them back then, there is this international exchange, it's really good. You just try it out. And when we were in CoinX also, I used to try out CoinX. so this was there, right? And even now, I used to suggest them if they want a crypto exchange to rely on, I tell them that this is the exchange that you should go to. The problem was that none of them tried it out. The reason being, everyone needs a hand holding to when they're starting out in crypto to start to just start, right? To give you an idea on what the asset class is, what you should expect, how to invest and start. Because most of them haven't invested beyond maybe an FD or a savings account, or even for their stock or share investments, they rely on just mutual funds, right? So that problem statement was there. And when Zakhil told me this idea, I felt, yeah, I was actually doing financial planning in Canada back then. And when he pitched the idea, I felt like, okay, whatever I'm learning here, I can implement it in crypto itself, right? There is a long-term investment opportunity in crypto. And I think, as Shiv said, that is what attracted me also into this idea of, okay, we will just try it out and see how an index, crypto index, gonna perform. Because back then we only had that idea of implementing that as a product. And even when we started, see, and if you check out BitSave also, you won't see a lot of cryptocurrencies or crypto assets in our platform. There are limited products. Even when people say you should go behind this narrative or list this much coins, we don't think that is the problem, right? When Bitcoin is giving you a 50% plus CAGR, the problem is not getting higher returns. The problem is always someone telling or guiding you to invest in Bitcoin in the long term, right? Because 50% CAGR itself can get you, in 10 years, can get you generational wealth. Okay. And if someone is there to guide you and help you stick to it, you will be in a better position in life. And your money problem will be solved. So that was the problem statement we had. Stocks, mutual funds, or gold or FDs, I don't think that would have resolved this. We didn't see it as a problem. And also for the customers, we can't give something new.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there was a significant gap, right? If I may say, right, in crypto. And see, for any traditional investment, you can always walk into a bank and there will be a number of people willing to help you open an FD, invest in mutual funds. You have mutual fund distributors, but there's a significant gap in crypto, solving for the doubts, the information gap that is there, the platform gaps that were there. So we really felt there's a need to solve for that. But I think most importantly, I would say it's always good when you're building in something where you have a core, in an area where you have that core competency, right? Like I said, it's been over a decade learning about it, right? And we are people who get up and the first thing that we think about is Bitcoin, and the last thing we think about before going to sleep is also Bitcoin, right? So, so it really helps you, and this is the only thing that we know, right? The best, right? So the idea is to create a platform that, that is the best in this category, right? And knowing what's happening, and you also feel very connected and attached, right? Because there are these very difficult days, and if you still have to get up every day and then keep pushing, you can't just do it for money or for the valuations or the AUMs. You have to genuinely have that love towards what you're doing. And I don't think, like any of us are motivated for another asset at this point in time. And this is a larger cause also, right? Like with like Asif said, like Bitcoin giving this kind of a return and people not generally sticking for that long term. And then we felt our existence is very relevant from that point of view. Yeah, so it's a combination of reasons, if I may sum it up. But I think primarily it's the love that we have and the conviction that we have in the asset itself that has made us to do this. Yeah.
From the conversation, I can understand that you guys are already change makers. And do you feel that Indians are very resistant to, be a part of this change, and how difficult is it?
Should I take that?
Yeah, of course, you're the best one to take it.
See, so I'll answer this a little differently, Neha. So I was lucky enough to work in the defense policy circles right after college, right? And I remember this one conference when somebody from, I think it was the International Defense Exporter, right? He was questioning the Vice Air Chief a lot that, you're not buying this, you're not buying this, you're getting late. He says, listen, India is a 5,000-year-old civilization. We will take our sweet time because we feel that we have a lot of time, right? But I think that holds true for any sphere of life in India, right? So if you just sort of even look at capital markets, the way they have developed, right? 90s were super duper chaotic, right? You have ups and downs and people going to jail and whatnot, right? To come fast forward to, let's say, early 2000, where people were still not particularly sure what's happening. Then came 2008 crisis. Till 2015, people in India were not particularly on board on the index fund investing, right? Investing in Nifty. In 2025, you take it for granted, obviously, that you'll invest in Nifty, right? So every capital market or every asset class, and especially a generational, civilizational country like India, takes its own sweet time, right? Mostly, I've seen that it plays out for the better. I think, and I keep saying this, and I'm quite convinced on this, that where stocks were or stock markets were in the late 1990s is exactly where we are with crypto assets right now in India, right? People are starting to get a sense that there's something happening in the world. Maybe we should know about it. Maybe we should understand it. Beyond that, which platform to go into, right? Who are the guys who are sort of building for this? Is the government at least being positive, or if not positive, then at least neutral on it, right? What are the kind of regulations that are happening? What's happening around the world? Oh, suddenly you have, let's say, the US endorsing it, right? Then you have, let's say, UAE investing into it. So clearly something is happening. And when you have, let's say, the world's largest AMC, the world's largest bank, right, the world's largest XYZ endorsing Bitcoin, then it is very difficult for a country as knowledgeable as India to ignore it, right? I think that is where we are in terms of acceptance. It's not easy, for sure. I think neither should it be easy. Right? If it was easy, then BitSave would not exist, very frankly, right? There's a problem to be solved, and that problem takes time to solve. So I think that is where. But if I have to make a very broad marker, right? About 12 months back or 15 months back, a conversation on Bitcoin, let's say on the phone, would be a very difficult one. It would be no. Achha, okay, we'll see. Right now it is, hey, you know what? I know you guys are doing this. Can we know more? Can you send something of yourselves? We really want to evaluate what's happening, right? I think that's fantastic, right? I think it's fantastic. And you know what? And always, again, India has a very unique thing about it, right? India has repeatedly shown that it can leap nations, right? So we leapt manufacturing, went straight to services. We leapt plastic money, went straight to something like UPI, and there's no second to UPI in the world, right? I think because we have that fintech dominance, the kind of that we have, be it in terms of capital, be it in terms of talent, be it in terms of widespread usage, right? I still feel, and I'm very, very convinced on most days, right, that we will get this right. We will eventually get this right.
So do you think it is going to take more 10 or 15 years to, maybe for Indians to accept Bitcoin completely?
No, I don't think so. I think it will be much sooner. I think it will be a matter of 5 years or so. It will be a matter. And I'll try and put this again that it's not a random thing, right? India has what, the world's largest data network when it comes to, let's say, mobile data network, right? We use data like there is no tomorrow. It's the cheapest data that you get. Every person, or not every person, but as a matter of saying that the use of mobile phones as a way to consume information in this country is absolutely ginormous, right? I think we have really come up to speed there. So the way we are consuming information and at the pace at which the older generation, our generation, and the generation coming up is there, right? The exposure to the world is in India's pockets, right? And I feel we will pick that up. And history is evident that we do pick it up. Right, I think we will pick it up. We will figure out on how to solve for this in the best manner, and where can we get the solution for this in the best manner. And what Shiv Pande was doing in 2021 of trying to figure out how do I invest. I think by the time we hit 2027, 2028, and in 2030, I think this will be a well-established field in itself.
So maybe when you guys are in a family gathering setup and with your relatives, friends,
Oh yes.
do you get concerns about maybe you should change your industry or like is there something that people
I think we're past that stage.
Yeah,
right?
our
I think
family,
we're
our
past
circles
that
have
stage.
accepted it.
Yeah.
Like
what
I
about your parents? They completely understand about
I wouldn't say completely understand, but I think one, they've accepted, like Sajal say, I think if they've reached a point, you can't really change, it's a reality. And also I feel, they're kind of now getting a sense of what it means, how it works, because we ourselves do a lot of content, and one core thing that we try to do is remove the technical aspect of like these things whenever we talk about it, right? So it's a language that our parents can understand, our relatives can understand. I think for the first time in so many years, they are now getting a sense, right? And like we keep writing on a bunch of magazines, just part of education. And there's an interesting story of Asif's mom. She saw a magazine in a bookstore, and the cover page read ki, like Trump is now the US president, what could be the future of Bitcoin? And she was like, okay, my son works in this industry, let me just look at what is my son's future. She picks up the magazine, she she looks inside, and then she sees that it's an article that we have written. So like when, and especially when the funding news comes in a local newspaper, this like I think finally they've started to realize ki okay, they're doing something right. Right, so it's been a journey. Like for me, I think it took almost 5-6 years for them to get a sense of what it is. And I remember someone asking, I used to do CA before getting into crypto full time, and I had someone who asked me, like as a CA student, should you be doing something like this? Like so we passed all that. Like we are not new to the industry, and everyone knows. And the good part is now anyone in the circle, whenever they read about Bitcoin or hear about, I don't know if it's might be weird at times, but we are the first people that come to their mind, right? Regardless of whether it's a good Bitcoin story or a bad Bitcoin story. So feels good to be here, like to adopt it early, and then finally to be here at the stage where the world is discovering it, right? Like it's still less than 10% of the global population that owns or even understands crypto or Bitcoin. So I think that's the opportunity that Shiv was talking about, right? There's a long journey ahead, and we feel we're placed well to capture a significant part of that adoption that will happen over the next few years to come.
Yeah. So this happened, right? So the family does question, like, Shiv, are you sure? And then my wife, Priya, are you sort of sure what Shiv is doing, right? So I think in my case, the turning point came up when a couple of IITs called us and said that, hey, what, we would love for you to come and deliver a lecture. I fortunately or unfortunately come from a family of academicians and bureaucrats, right? They're like, oh, 1 second, I'm like, I have to go to Bombay. They're like, again for some pitching? I'm like, no, this time IIT Bombay is called for lecture. They're like, called you. Like, yeah, they're at this age group, yeah. For? And I have to deliver a lecture on Bitcoin and blockchain. Okay. So see, that's the point, right? Human beings being human beings do respect institutional coverage of something, right? And I think, yes, you can say that this is at the end of the day a little bit of FOMO, true, but at the end of the day, when you have institutions such as this sort of coming in and saying, what, we would love to understand this, right? I think your family does take note of it, right? And then it suddenly turns from skepticism to pride, right? That, see, and then they understand that, okay, you're doing the right thing. and you guys seem to be handling your clients' money in the right way. And then, of course, a lot of the family members have invested in through BitSave, right? So that's been the journey as well. The clicker for them in that journey, how easy it is to redeem their money, right? So a lot of time, obviously, you hear of crypto platforms not doing well, blocking redemptions and this and that. The what I saw was that their ability to get their money back with the percentage return that was being shown on the screen was the biggest winner for them. They said, yes, now this makes sense. Yeah.
Sajal, how easy it is to get the redeems? Like,
It's actually, so what happens is that to get the redemption thing, obviously you need to sell it first, and it works in a very index fund kind of way, right? The orders are clubbed together and then we sell it at a particular point in time, and that units gets converted into its equivalent USDT as per the prices that have been at that point in time. Once that is done, you have to place a withdrawal order. Once you have placed the withdrawal order, we get a request at our end, and it usually takes within a day.
within a day.
Within a day, it
cleared.
hits their bank account that they have provided to us earlier. And just to let you know, those bank accounts we verify at our end that they belongs to the user who have KYC'd with us, right? So within a day, they get that amount, and we take care of all the TDS and everything out there. We take care of that. So that is the smooth process. So for a user, it's just like 2 clicks, and within a day they'll receive that amount.
Yeah, it takes a while. It's not instant, primarily because from a safety point of view, we store these assets in dedicated qualified custodians, which means it's not kept on our server, which is more prone to cyber attacks. So we store it in a way where it's all disconnected from the internet, and like we say, these private keys, which are like passwords to your Bitcoin wallet. So these are stored in different cities and multiple wallets, right? So so because of how safe it is, it takes some time for like the team to go there and process or move the assets back, right? So so one thing that we are consciously doing is we don't want to compromise on security for speed, right? So that's a balance that we have struck. Because if you want to do it instantly, that would mean that we have to compromise on the security aspect of things. So that's an expectation that we try to set to our clients, saying that this is how it works. It takes a while because we have to get it manually moved because of how secure the system is, right? So yeah. So on a typical platform or an exchange, you might get it in the next few minutes, but we take longer primarily because of that extra layer of security that we have on the platform. Yeah.
And how easy it is to onboard someone, like,
Say if a customer is convinced about the asset, that's Bitcoin or the crypto index, they right away invest. They have a few questions regarding how the withdrawal is done, what charges are you charging on the investments, is there any exit load, is there any lock-in periods. Once that is sorted, they usually invest. It's very long if the customer is new to the product, right? Making them understand this is how it works. So a lot of education has to be done on the asset itself. As Shiv said, redeeming the amount, right? The major concern is not them knowing that the exchanges are not withdrawing. Major concern is they think that Bitcoin is unsellable. Right? You go to, I mean, do you think there is liquidity? Who will buy my Bitcoin? Right. So people have those questions. So it takes time to tell them this is a $2 trillion asset class, right? There is a company called Galaxy which sold $80,000 Bitcoins. 80,000 Bitcoin is 80,000 into 1 crore Indian rupees, right? When they sold that much amount, the market just moved 3% and they got the entire amount. So liquidity is nowhere an issue in case of Bitcoin or the other crypto assets that we are dealing, because since we are dealing in only large cap assets, which Bloomberg suggests, right? So that's never a problem. So we tell this, we try to communicate to the customer. There are customers who talks for 2 hours, then decide not to invest, then come back after 2 or 3 months after seeing the asset performing, then invest. There are customers who invest right after 30 seconds of telling them, okay, this, that, and that. Yeah.
And
this
then
is how
if
it
they
goes.
and then if the customer already is educated in the asset class, already have gone through the pain process of the crypto ecosystem we have. I guess the record was some 10 minutes, right? From user sign up to
Yeah,
completing the
sign up to
KYC to
investing.
to actually depositing the amount with us, and then placing the
Placing
buy
the buy
order.
order.
It was a record, I guess, 10 minutes.
Right.
Less than 10 minutes.
Less than 10
Less
minutes.
than 10 minutes.
So do you think was it because they were eager to take the risk, or they already knew like how Bitcoin is performing and
I think it's a combination.
Combination of both.
Like sometimes, especially if there's a strong referral in place, it's recommended by someone you trust. You just go and invest, right? And yeah, so and also maybe we have designed the process also in a way where you don't really get confused anywhere, right? The conscious effort is to make sure that we don't use technical terms in any of these journeys. So it's as simple as being on a traditional mutual fund app. So we try to use similar terms so that we don't confuse, right? So that familiarity gives them a comfort, and yeah. So if you have some conviction in the asset, then I think the REST platform takes care of it on its own, right? So that's when we see typically them coming, and then that entire flow ends up as an investment. Right? But if you have the fact that you have questions, doubts, and of course the relationship managers take care of it before they come on board. But I'm seeing there's a general sense of increase in conviction into the asset these days, right? So a lot of people have signed up months back, years back. Now we are seeing them come back and start their journey. So and that's a process, and we know that everyone is different, like Asif was saying, it's a very different journey. Everybody is in their own their background will be different, their financial situation will be different. So we as a platform understand that. We are very sure that like something I keep telling when I talk to people is, even if you don't want to invest today, whenever you feel like it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, and we are here to serve you, right? So the idea is that if someone wants to passively invest in Bitcoin or leading assets for the long term, the idea is to give them the best platform, the simplest flow, the safest custody that is available, right? So it's as simple as that.
And what is the age group of maximum investors we have? Is it like they are in their 40s or 30s?
I think it's in the 30
30
to 40
40
is where we are seeing a significant, our client base right now, mostly salaried businessmen who may be having that, not really disposable income, but a portion of their income that they're saving for the long term. And they want to put a small percentage of that into crypto, or maybe just Bitcoin for that matter. So that's a segment that we see mostly on the app. And maybe, we as a platform, we rely a lot on word of mouth growth, right? So when they refer, it's usually similar kind of people that come onto the platform as well, right? So it's usually, there's a category that usually, or let's say majority of them. And the good thing is that most of them are investing for the long term. Like that expectation is set that this is not a short-term asset. It's not a short-term platform for you to invest. Right. So they come with that expectation, and a significant portion of our client base have never made a sell on the platform. And a good number of them that we personally know, they're investing it even for their next generation. They don't even care about the current taxation rules or whatever, because they don't intend to sell it or take profit in the in their lifetime. They want to pass it on, right? Even today we got a phone call from a client saying, I want to start a SIP for my child who is 5-year-old, right? So yeah, so I think whoever, that's a crowd, and then I think it makes sense for us also. We're going to be part of their next 30-year journey, right? Like into their retirement. We're going to be with them as their crypto partner going forward. So yeah, that's a segment that we have.
So these are basically those people who have already already are familiar with the index fund concept. They are already investing in, let's say, Nifty 50, right? And they are using these traditional apps that we have around us, right? And so they already understand the concept of index fund. They already understand the concept of compounding. So we don't have to educate them per se. We have to just educate them on the part that about the asset class,
Yeah.
which I guess most of them have knowledge about. The customers that we have, right? These salaried class, the people of Hyderabad, the people of Bangalore, right? They know, right? And when they come, they find the UX to be exactly the same that they have been using with these traditional. They found the jargon to be exactly same. So we built it like that there is no additional education required for them, right? And then what I mentioned, right? Within 10 minutes, the person was able to do it. And that is what is setting us apart from the other players.
So there's a lot of debate about, banning of crypto. Do you think it is possible in the future?
Yeah, so like if you think of internet, there's internet and then there are internet service providers. It's the same thing, right? Like you can't regulate internet because it's a decentralized network, but you can always regulate internet service providers who give you access to the internet as a service, right? It's the same thing if you think about it, right? You have Bitcoin and other crypto assets which are necessarily decentralized networks without a centralized server, but then you have service providers like us, other exchanges, custodians that give services. So yes, there are countries that have taken restrictive measures, but most countries have been pro in how they are approaching, including the US right now, which has clearly stated that they're going to come up with positive crypto regulations. So what they mean by that is creating a positive regulatory environment for service providers to function, keeping in mind the long-term well-being of the investor that is investing into these assets, right? So India is still like figuring out. I think recently there was a committee that was formed by the ministry by the parliament, right, to study about crypto assets. So just like every country is figuring out and coming up with legislations, India is also there, right? India had the G20 presidency last year where we only took the initiative to get a global consensus on how to regulate these platforms because it's a cross-border asset, right? Like no country can say that we have, it's our Bitcoin, right? It's a global asset. So you need a consensus among all the countries to regulate it the right way. I expect maybe, like eventually there will be a cleanup at some point in terms of what kind of models, what kind of products would be allowed and what will not be allowed. For us, the idea of what we build, how we develop every single feature is keeping that regulatory oversight in mind. Like what would the regulator be thinking? Would they want us to disclose our AUM and like disclose our wallets to the public? Do they want us to have every other risk disclosures in place? If they are trying to protect the investor, how would they typically want to do it? So this is how we are trying to think, so that tomorrow when you have formal regulations, legislations in place, we may not have to significantly change what we are doing, right? Because we are keeping that investor well-being, which is essentially the same thing a regulator would also think. But yeah, I mean, there is always a risk of a country taking a different stand, which would mean that at that point in time everyone gets to kind of offload or sell and then take it back, because no country is going to be like, you just can't touch it from tomorrow. Typically there might be a transition phase where people can redeem and sell, right? So that's the way. So as of now it's completely legal to invest, buy, sell, hold, whatever you want. India has certain regulations, especially in terms of capital control. I mean, in terms of how money moves around other countries. So that is where I think investors need to be generally careful in terms of how they access this asset. So yeah, so for us, we've been always thinking from that point of view and creating the product which can last, even in a regulatory environment that we expect to happen very soon in India.
Yeah. Well, also, Neha, if you sort of look at it, right? I mean, we get these questions of, the ban part of it. But if you look at the current setup of crypto assets in India, so as number one, as Zakhil said, right? So the government doesn't record multiple number of times that, if you are investing this into an asset, it's fair game, right? But if you're using this as a payment mechanism, then that is where the problem is really, really big and it's unacceptable to the government. And fair play, right? Because see, if you have to be also be fair to the regulator, right? In India's case especially, you're not regulating for 1% of the country. You're regulating for 140 crore people, right? And I think that is the pinch point, right? That once the dotted line is signed by the government, it's applicable to the world's most populous country that there is there, right? And let's say from a kiddo to let's say a senior citizen can leverage that. So you have to be careful in that respect, right? Second point is that at the end of the day, the asset is taxed but unregulated. Now a lot of people say that, hey Shiv, but that's a bit of a challenge, but it's not. Because crypto is not the only asset class which is taxed but unregulated, right? There are other asset classes in this country which have exactly the same treatment of being taxed but unregulated. It's just that, at the end of the day, there have been bad experiences with people over a period of time, and that is where the muscle memory sort of kicks in, right? But I always say that you have to be fair to the regulator. Yeah? At the end of the day, a lot of people look up to the government and say that you will protect us as your formal duty. So they have to look into that fact.
And Asif, do you get questions like, what if you run away with our money?
All the time.
How do you deal with it?
See, first of all, it's making people understand what the company stands for, the investment firm stands for, right? This is a firm where we don't tell people to invest a lot of money into the assets or the products that we have. It's a company where there is an investment planner, which is me, who talks to the customers and understand their risk profile and make them only invest a certain amount which is they're comfortable to invest. Right?
Including telling them don't invest.
Don't invest.
If the asset
If
doesn't.
you're expecting a guaranteed return, we directly tell them not to invest. So it's a platform where there is a compliance person who makes sure that the wrong people are not there. Or even for that matter, HNIs are taken through a long scrutinizing process, and only then they are onboarded. Or the PEP category users are also scrutinized in the same way. So if it's a company that's thinking about incentivizing by running away with people's money, then we should be having a platform which offers guaranteed returns, which tells people to invest. And the easiest option is to create a token. Tell that invest in Asif token. This will give you 100% returns in 1 month. Right? Which we are not doing. We are sticking with the best product. We took a license for it. For the index, we took a Bloomberg license. We went through all those hard works. There is no single point of failure where Zakhil can take the money, Sajal can take the money, Vishnu can take the money, Asif can take the money, right? Even for every sell or the withdrawals that is happening, there are multiple approvals that needs to happen. And we are also not holding the crypto asset with us.
Yeah.
There is a
Qualified.
licensed custodian which is in place who is handling the custody. We are also showing 100% of the user assets to the user, and they can track whether the AUM that we are telling the users is
Actually
in
there.
alignment with the amount that we are showing on the wallets, right? So these things are what makes it, or what people should consider as a platform that doesn't run away with your money. And if you're someone who wants crypto to be regulated in India, and when you say regulated, what do you mean by that? Or what do you mean the platform should be performing after being regulated? That is same thing what BitSave is following. Any regulated platform in India should be following these guidelines, right? Having 100% transparency to the clients, not onboard the wrong users, don't tell the users to invest as much as possible in crypto, or don't give the wrong expectations to the users. So we are taking care of those things. It's not a platform that runs away with the money. It doesn't look like the profile doesn't match.
I mean,
a platform that looks.
I think there's no
away with your money.
incentive for us, like I think there's a reason why we exist, something that I described, right? We were not people who teamed up and said, we want to build something and landed at this idea. We saw a problem and then we were clear that maybe we are the right people to solve for that problem. And regardless of what have happened over the last 2.5 years, we have stayed focused on that one problem, right? Crypto is a very distractive world. You have every day new things popping up, but we have stayed true to our purpose. And at this point, that's the most important thing, right? Like to the kind of impact that we can have on the lives, in terms of the kind of potential that Bitcoin and other crypto assets have for the next decade or so. And then we being there to serve our clients in the right way. That's what we look forward every day. That's what keep us motivated to get up and work for, right? So, and I keep saying this, that I don't know anything else, right? Like I'm someone who gave up on my journey as to become a chartered accountant, to do this full time.
So there's no plan B.
There's no plan B. That's what. There's absolutely no plan B, right? And all of us, if you think about it, like all of us have given up on so many other lucrative, like Vishnu got placed in TCS, he gave up on that. I would have been a chartered accountant. Asif learned something else in college, but ended up doing this. Sajal gave up a crore worth of package to work with us, and Shiv also, like he was in traditional finance. And considering the kind of connections that we have, I'm pretty sure like any global crypto player would want to, will offer him whatever he wants, right? But the fact that we've all come together, it's a purpose that holds us together, right? So there's absolutely no plan B. And this is the only thing, we are so attached to this problem statement that, like we want to keep pushing ourselves and making sure that we are always there. I keep saying we don't guarantee returns, but what we guarantee is the comfort and the fact that we will exist. We'll always be there for you regardless of how tough it becomes. So that's our commitment towards our clients.
To add to that, right, while I was working in one of my previous organizations, I remember one of my managers, he told me that, so as a feedback, he gave me the feedback that I'm a very black and white person. I didn't understand what he meant at that point in time. So he mentioned that you're a very black and white person. You need some shades of gray. So I jokingly asked, how much? But then I retrospected on that part, and so I guess, and a year later I went back to him and asked, does that mean that I am the kind of person who goes all into a thing, or not go at all, right? So he said, yeah, you are the kind of person who is like, who if he wants, like will go all into the thing, and if I do not have the compassion to build it, I don't do it at all. Like there is no middle ground, right? So that is how I take care of what I build, right? Either I'll go all in or I don't build it at all, right? Also the fact that my background per se, right? My personal background is that I have been into this philosophy, ethics, morality, all of that stuff, right? So I remember my father had this book on ethics and morality. It was by Bertrand Russell, right? I didn't understand at that point in time why ethics and morality should be taught to people, right? Well, obviously, ethics and morality are important, but why as a subject, right? But then it creeped into my own personality that whatever you are building should be ethically and morally correct to the people, right? Because at the end, in 100 years or so, right, nobody will remember you exist. But the legacy that remains is that you remained ethically correct to what you were doing, right? And not straying away. Like, so just to add to that part, which Asif was mentioning, right? We have in fact, as a fun fact, we have in fact turned down more AUM than we have on our platform, right? So that comes from the fact that the unintended players does not come into our system, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think to sum it up in life, you have two choices: either make someone's life easier or make someone's life harder. And I don't think it's a difficult choice to make. So, yeah, that's it.
Tell me your favorite feature on the app.
KYC.
Mine is auto SIP.
Auto SIP.
So we built it in a way that it gets deducted from. So we did a pilot on doing an auto SIP thing. It gets deducted from your bank account on a particular day, as you mentioned, and it comes to us. And then in the back end, we place the orders automatically for the users when the users have given us permission to do so, right? And so what happens is that now I'm an autopilot, right? Every week, I don't have to go open the app as such, right? I don't even need the app on my phone. It will keep doing the stuff that I asked them to do, and I can always go back and ask them not to do it. So I keep this is personally what I do. I keep buying Bitcoin every week, and that happens on an autopilot. So I don't need to do anything. That was, I guess, we figured it out together.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all that part of like making sure that what can we do within our constraints to give our clients the best
so
experience.
This is something I personally wanted as a product. Why not we build it for people?
And I think
auto SIP for me.
For me, Quick Invest. The day I got the idea, I think after we built the app, I was so excited when I got the idea. I just want to ship this as soon as possible, right? And I think it's the fastest feature we ended up shipping also, because I remember like 10 years back, it was a few day process to invest in crypto, right? And we have made it 10 seconds, so it's really quick. It means it's literally quick, right? So absolutely love that experience on the app right now.
Do you feel proud of yourself?
Proud of what we have achieved.
I feel content.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel content that we are doing something right.
Yeah.
So it was Quick Invest for me till I filed my ITR using the tax support part. Right? I mean, the fact that tax in crypto is still something that a lot of people are grappling with, right? I mean, for us, see Neha, the thing is, as like a fund house or aspiring fund house, right? We don't have to get into the tax things. It's out of our purview if you sort of think about it, right? We are going an extra mile, delivering tax statements to clients at no charge, at no extra charge, at no premium subscriptions, etc. Right? You make 2 clicks, and within I think a day or 2, you get a tax statement in Excel delivered to your WhatsApp/email, right? And it comes in a manner that you can simply hand it over to your CA, right? And your ITR is done, right? And I saw this happening in front of me, right? So I did not nudge my CA that look, you want some help. It happened so smoothly, right? And I think a lot of Indians or a lot of client base for that matter took a lot of comfort from that, right? That starting from sign up to KYC to investment to tax, all of that is being covered, right? And you don't have to unlock new features on the app by paying extra to do that, right? So it's out of our purview, strictly speaking, but we go the extra mile and do that.
Kudos to the tech team.
Kudos to everyone. Tech is just the code behind the brains of everyone who have done it.
So, ending our conversation with a very important and crucial question. Where do you see BitSave in the next 5 years?
I think a very crucial point for us and even India, the ecosystem in India is, we are all waiting for a regulatory, regime to come up, right? And for us, the positioning is very clear. We want to be the best in passive crypto investing space, right? We're not actually a competition to exchange. We are a added layer, right? If someone just want to invest for long term with a significant hand holding required and additional layer of security required, we want to be the best in that. We are also looking at, there are other countries where also people, this is a similar problem statement, is the same problem statement that you might find for so many other countries as well. So maybe from a Asia context, we want to be the largest crypto passive crypto investment platform or a crypto asset management company in the Asian Eastern region. And most importantly, I would say is to keep upholding that philosophy, right? Regardless of the scale, regardless of the category of investor base that we end up serving. The biggest USP for us or the biggest differentiation for us should be to make sure that we are always doing what is right for the investor, right? Like when someone hear about our name, that confidence, that comfort should automatically come with that, and you can't build that in day one, or like regardless of whatever amount of money that I might get today, I can't build that. You have to stay there, keep doing the right things, right? So yeah, I mean, I think for us, it's that's a process that we are all part of right now, and we do keep building for the long term, right? And I think I remember telling one of our vendor, like when we started, the first time I'll look back at where we are would be 5 years later, right? Yeah, I mean, I think 2030, I hope Bitcoin hits $1 million in value, and then BitSave reaches a few billions in AUM. But regardless of all that, right, we're not a company that optimize for numbers, but most importantly, the single most metric for me is how many families we are able to impact, right? How many lives we are able to impact as a brand, right? So that's what really matters, and keeping that in mind, we want to, since we have a head start and we have the first mover advantage, we want to make sure that we capitalize on that and adhere to whatever regulations and guidelines from the government, and make sure that we keep doing what is right for our clients. So it's very simple. It's exactly what we're doing today, but like at a larger scale as we grow. Yeah.
So from a product perspective, I can answer this, right? So if you ask a founder, what is one of the hardest things they have to do in their startup journey, right? They will say that the first 10 customers, the first 100 customers, the first 1,000 customers, in our case, the first million, right? So for the last 2.5 years that we have been building, it was difficult, obviously. Yes, it was difficult. But the thing is, we have put up the base on which a building has to be constructed. We have just touched a single part of that whole thing, right? There is a building needs to be constructed, and a lot of product guys can actually understand what I'm trying to tell, is that there is something called a hockey stick growth. Hockey stick growth is that initially it takes a lot of time. Like people from physics can understand that there is a difference between inertial friction and then kinetic friction. Inertial friction is always more than the kinetic friction. We have passed the stage of that friction point, and now we are starting to build that building that I'm talking about, right? We were started trusting us. There is word of mouth, and I can see the hockey stick the first initial part going up, right? So the thing is, initially it will be a linear journey, right? But when it picks up, it becomes an exponential journey. So yeah, in next 5 years, if everything goes well, and we are sticking to how we are building it, right, it will go into that exponential part, and hoping, as Zakhil mentioned, right, maybe
and I think there are so many exciting collaborations that we are looking forward. Obviously, I can't name everything right now, but I think when you stay ethical, when you stay transparent, right, like the right people want to work with you. The people who are building for long term wants to work with you, right? And there are so many preliminary rounds of conversations going on, and yes, it's going to be very long and so many challenges to get things done, but it's exciting from that point of view, right? Like having done so many right things for the last 2.5 years and finally getting noticed by the right people. So personally, looking forward to some of them, which close to heart, I would say. and we knew, like eventually if you keep doing the right things or keep doing the good things, good things start happening to you as well, right? So yeah, a couple of very, very exciting stuff which still keeps me awake at night. Like founders, I've seen this problem of, losing that interest after a point, right? Like I can still say that, the kind of excitement that I've had on day one. I remember the first night I didn't sleep, right? I still have such sleepless nights even after 2.5 years thinking of, the new features that we're going to build, the kind of people that we're going to work with, the kind of clients that we get to serve, right? So yeah, it's about doing those small things right. Like we spend most of our time spending discussing what not to do instead of what to do, right? Like because we don't want to do a lot of things. We think there's a genuine purpose for what we're doing right now, and then it's about keeping on staying true to that mission, which I was explaining in the beginning. So yeah, super excited for the next 5 years, if you ask me.
Awesome. So guys, thank you so much for being with me, and it was an absolute pleasure knowing the story and the journey behind. And also the ones watching us, thank you so much for being with us till the end, and stay safe, happy investing.